Let's close the short row gaps for the Brioripple Shawl. These are the short row gaps that we turned during the short rows. This row is the same row and technique used for row 15 of the garter stitch short row section, happening right here with your accent color. So keep on using your accent color if you're here after those first garter ridges. And it's the same technique for row 1 of the brioche section. I'm going to show you with row 1 using my main color for the brioche, but if you're halfway through the garter stitch section, you'll still be working with your accent color right here. Begin by knitting the first 4 stitches. And if you're doing this during row 1 of the brioche section, you can take the new tail of yarn and the broken tail of yarn and wrap it on top of your working yarn to weave in ends as you knit. After you knit 4, knit 2 together 8 times. I'm going to wrap my tails on top of my working yarn because I have a new color. If you're just working with your accent color for row 15 of the garter stitch section, then you'll just be knitting with the same color that you've had attached. You'll be halfway through this section doing this technique, knitting 2 together 8 times. If your tension is a little bit tighter, you can loosen the stitches first like this to make them easier to knit 2 together. Here is the 8th knit 2 together. Knit 1 while closing the short row gap. Pick up a garter bump below that stitch that you just knit, right here, and knit that stitch together, that picked up a bump together with the next stitch. One more time. You just did the 8th knit 2 together. There's a little bump on the side as well. If you can get that, that's okay. I go into the one on the front. It's easier to pick up. So pick up the garter bump, knit the next stitch, and that's how you close the short row gap. Knit 1 while closing the short row gap. Yarn over, yarn on top of the right needle, knit 1, yarn over 15 times. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, knit 1, yarn over, bring the yarn forward and on top of the right needle, and then knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. When you do it the 15th time, knit 1, yarn over, you should be at a new gap. And you can tell it's a gap because there'll be a big space, and you see how there's an extra garter ridge here. This garter ridge connects here to there, and then there's one extra garter ridge above. So I know that I'm at the gap because I'm at the point where there's one extra garter ridge here that doesn't connect to the other side. These are the other spaces. You can really see those gaps, so you know you reach them when you see those big holes. All right, you did the final knit 1, yarn over 15 times, knit 2 together while closing the short row gap. So do the same type of pickup into that garter bump, and make sure that yarn over is still going over your right needle. You don't want that to fall off like this. You have the yarn over on the right needle, you pick up the garter bump, and then knit 2 together while closing the gap. So you're going to knit these 2 stitches together and the picked up bump. So it looks like a knit 3 together. But you're knitting those next 2 stitches together with that picked up bump. One more time. Knit 2 together while closing the gap. Make sure you have the yarn over. Pick up that bump. Knit 2 together means knitting these 2 stitches together with the bump. So you're going to get all of that goodness together like that. And make sure you still have that yarn over on the right needle before that closure. Knit 2 together 15 times. This is a good check for you to know that you're at the right place in the row, because you're going to knit 2 together 15 more times, and after you do that, you should be at the next gap. So these 2 stitches knitted together should be the final 15th knit 2 together. Knit 2 together. So I'm just quickly knitting 2 together, and I'm not counting. I'm just going to knit 2 together until I reach that gap, and then I'll count and double check to make sure I have the right number of stitches. All right, do you see that gap right there? So I knit 2 together. That should be the 15th. Knit 2 together. Now we're at the gap, and let's double check. Let's go back and look at that. We had the knit 1 yarn over, knit 1 yarn over. That was the last knit 1 yarn over. Do you see that little cluster happening right here? That's the knit 2 together while closing the short row gap. And then we had to knit 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Right on track. After you knit 2 together 15 times, knit 1 while closing the short row gap. Pick up the bump, knit it together with the next stitch. So that's different than that knit 2 together while closing the gap that we did. When it just says knit 1 while closing the gap, you pick up the bump and just knit 1 together with the bump, yarn over. Knit 1 yarn over 15 times. Those are the techniques for this row. Keep on following the row. You'll be doing knit 2 together while closing the gap here. So knit those 2 stitches together with that picked up bump. It feels like a knit 3 together because of that picked up bump. And then here you'll be doing another closure, knit 1 while closing the gap. And then here at the end, you'll end by doing a knit 2 together 8 times. So here is that final closure. This final gap will be a knit 2 together while closing the gap. And I'll see you at the end of the row. I'm reaching the end of the row. Whether you're working row 15 from the garter stitch section or row 1 of brioche, it's the same instructions. I did my final knit 1 yarn over 15 times, and now I need to knit 2 together while closing the short row gap. So pick up that garter bump. Knit 2 together means knitting these 2 stitches together with the bump. So make sure you don't just do these 2 stitches together, because then you'll have 1 extra stitch. So we're knitting 2 stitches together, the 2 stitches from the left needle with the picked up bump. So it looks like a knit 3 together because of that pickup. And then knit 2 together 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, slip 3 with yarn in front. You should still have 151 stitches on your needle So after all of those increases and decreases and picking up of the bumps, double check your stitch count and make sure you've got all 16 of your yarn overs in the yarn over sections. And make sure you have 151 total stitches. If you're off a stitch or two, then you could tink back and try this row again, or during the next row, just sneak in an extra stitch, okay? If you notice you're missing one of the 16 yarn overs, then just sneak in an extra picked up stitch increase on the next row somewhere in that yarn over location. But you should have 151 stitches. If you're after row 15 in the garter stitch section, then keep on working with your accent color to work those garter stitch rows, repeating rows 2 through 14. Rows 16 through 28 of the garter stitch section are here, and that's a repeat of rows 2 through 14. And if you're working on row 1 of the brioche like I just did, you have your new main color. I showed you how to weave in ends as you knit at the beginning of the row, and then just leave the yarn hanging after about 8 or 10 stitches or so. And we can cut that later. After row 1 of the brioche section, don't turn. Slide your stitches to work the right side again with a contrast color. I'm going to use 2 strands of mohair silk held together for my contrast color. Row 1, right side, using contrast color in the brioche section. Knit 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to hold that tail of yarn, my new tail of yarn from the mohair, together with my working yarn to knit my ends in. So this is another way. I like to do this with the contrast color. Purl 1, slip 1 yarn over, purl 1. Slip 1 with a yarn over, purl 1. I'm holding that broken tail or the beginning tail of my contrast color together with the tail that's attached to the yarn, knitting a double thick, and that's going to be another way of working in the ends so we don't have to weave in any ends. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, make sure the yarn is in front for the slip 1 yarn over, slip, yarn over, purl 1. Slip 1 yarn over, slip, yarn over, purl 1. You'll be purling those yarn overs from the main color. So slip 1 with the yarn over, purl 1. Once you've done about 10 or 12 stitches or so, holding the 2 strands together, you'll probably run out of that anyway. So just drop it, that little broken tail, the beginning tail, put it to the back, and continue the row with your contrast color. You could hold a fingering weight strand of yarn, 1 strand of fingering weight for your contrast color. This will become the background brioche color. The contrast color is here. I'm holding 2 strands of mohair together. Slip 1 with the yarn over, purl 1. Slip 1 yarn over, purl 1. Slip 1 with the yarn over, purl 1. I'll show you again with continental style knitting. Slip 1 with the yarn over, bring the yarn forward to purl. Slip 1 yarn over, purl, yarn forward to slip, purl. So we're seeing this little yarn over shawl. Every other stitch is wearing a little contrast color yarn over shawl on its shoulders. So those are the weave in, steeve in, and the knitting together techniques to weave in your ends or knit your ends into the fabric as you knit. So with all of these colorful stripes, we won't have any ends to weave in if you do that technique. At the end of row 1, using contrast color, slip 1 with the yarn over, purl 1, and then slip the last 3 stitches with yarn in front. The main color and contrast color are both here at the end of the right side row. Turn to work row 2, wrong side, using the main color. So the main color is here, and we're looking at the wrong side, so the main color's in the back. Using main color, knit 3, slip 1 yarn over, bring the yarn forward to slip. The yarn goes on top of the needle. Bring the yarn forward to brioche purl 1. Slip 1 yarn over, brioche purl 1. Slip 1 yarn over. Brioche purl 1, slip 1 yarn over to last 3 stitches. Brioche purl, slip 1 yarn over, brioche purl. You're purling the stitch together with the contrast color yarn over. Slip 1 with a yarn over, brioche purl 1, slip 1 with a yarn over. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, the yarn is in front to brioche purl 1. The yarn is in front, so you can slip 1 with the yarn over, wrap it around to brioche purl 1, slip 1 with the yarn over, brioche purl 1. The yarn is always in front before you do the slip 1 yarn over, slip, yarn over, brioche purl 1. Keep on going to the last 3 stitches. At the end of row 2, brioche purl 1, slip 1 with the yarn over. You're going to end with the yarn in front, so make sure you have that slip 1. I'll do that one more time for you English style knitters. Slip 1 with the yarn over. The yarn is in front, and then slip the last 3 stitches with yarn in front. After you finish the main color, don't turn. Slide the stitches to work row 2, wrong side, with contrast color. So this is my mohair held double for the contrast color, and it should be attached and ready to knit the I-cord stitches at the beginning of the wrong side row. Here we go. Row 2, using contrast color, knit 3, brioche knit 1, knit the stitch together with its yarn over, slip 1 yarn over, the yarn is in front. As you slip, it goes on top of the needle to brioche knit 1. Slip 1 with the yarn over, the yarn is in front to slip, brioche knit the stitch together with its yarn over. Slip 1 with the yarn over, brioche knit 1. Slip 1 with the yarn over, brioche knit 1. Slip 1 with the yarn over, brioche knit 1. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, brioche knit 1, slip 1 with the yarn over, bring the yarn forward to slip, and then you can just brioche knit, because as you knit, the yarn is going on top of the right needle to make that yarn over. Slip 1 yarn over. The yarn needs to be in front to slip, and then it's going over the right needle as you brioche knit. Slip 1 yarn over, yarn forward to slip, brioche knit. Do you see that yarn over happening? You want to make sure it has that little diagonal yarn over, like every other stitch is wearing a little yarn over shawl. Slip 1 yarn over, yarn forward to slip, brioche knit. Slip one yarn over represents a slip stitch and that little yarn over. Slip one with a yarn over. Slip one with a yarn over. Yarn forward to slip, brioche knit. Keep on going to the end of this row with your contrast color. Brioche knit, slip one yarn over, brioche knit, slip one yarn over. At the end of row 2, using contrast color, slip one with a yarn over, brioche knit, bring the yarn forward to slip the last 3 stitches with yarn in front. Turn to work the right side. I'm going to work rows 3 through 8 of the brioche instructions. This is the second time I'm doing the brioche stitch pattern, so I'm going to repeat rows 3 through 8 of the brioche instructions once more. So using main color, row 3, right side, knit 3, slip one with the yarn over. The yarn is forward as you slip. Brioche knit 1, slip one with the yarn over to last 3 stitches. Brioche knit and slip. Brioche knit, slip. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, you need to bring the yarn forward before the slip. And then brioche knit, yarn forward to slip one with a yarn over. So the yarn over is just happening as you go to brioche knit. Slip one yarn over. Yarn forward to slip, brioche knit. 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 Slip one with the yarn over, brioche knit, slip one with the yarn over, brioche knit, slip one with the yarn over to last 3 stitches. At the end of row 3, right side, brioche knit 1, slip one with the yarn over, bring the yarn forward to slip the last 3 with yarn in front. Do not turn. Slide stitches to work row 3 right side using contrast color. And you can do some little housekeeping. If your yarns are on the table or in a basket, I like to have one yarn to my right and one color to my left all the time to keep them separate from each other. Row 3 right side using contrast color. Knit 3, brioche purl 1. Bring the yarn forward to brioche purl. Slip one with the yarn over. The yarn is in front to slip. Bring the yarn forward to brioche purl 1. Slip one, yarn over, brioche purl. Slip one with the yarn over, brioche purl. Slip one with the yarn over, brioche purl. Slip one with the yarn over. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, brioche purl. The yarn is already in front, so you can slip, yarn over, brioche purl. slip, yarn over all the way around so that the yarn is in front to purl. Slip, yarn over, brioche purl. Slip with the yarn over, brioche purl to last 3 stitches. At the end of row 3 with contrast color, brioche purl, the yarn is in front to slip the last 3 with yarn in front. Those are all of the brioche techniques. You can skip ahead or click on the timestamps linked down below to watch any of the brioche knit or brioche purl techniques again. And it's looking like this on the right side with those beautiful columns above the yarn overs. And that decrease valley is gonna make these beautiful waves. This is the right side with a prominence of the main color, and the wrong side features the contrast color more. With brioche knitting, each row is worked twice, you'll notice. Row 1 and 2, 3, you'll see row 3 written 2 times, once for the main color and once for the contrast color. Keep on repeating the written instructions. Rows 1 through 8 will create 8 knit columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you want to make sure you count 8 main color knit columns on the right side. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, and I'm ready to work row 4. So you want 8 columns to complete a brioche band. I just completed a brioche section and I have 8 main color knit stitch rows in a column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ready for another garter stitch section. Let's weave in ends as we knit, starting with row 1 garter stitch using accent color, knit 4. After you knit the 4th stitch, take all the tails of yarn from the main color and contrast color of the brioche and this new tail of yarn of the accent color. You can cross all of them on top of your working yarn to weave in ends as you knit. Brioche knit 1, wrap the yarn on top of the working yarn, knit 1, and cross. Brioche knit 1 to last 3 stitches. Brioche knit, knit. This is the weave in Steven technique to weave in ends as you knit. If this is a little too thick for you, you could do this with just 1 of the colors or 2 of the colors, and the other end you could do it on the next right side row, or you could weave in one of the ends. But I do all of the short tails. I do them all together as I knit across the row, and do it for about 12 stitches or so is enough. And it's gonna look like this. So you will see it on the back. It looks like a whip stitch, but this is a really quick, easy way to work the ends in as you knit. And at the end of the project, you won't have to weave any of those colorful stripe ends. You'll only have to weave in the cast-on tail and the bind-off tail. So you can work with dozens of colors, but you don't have to weave in all those ends at the end of your project. Keep on going. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, wrap the yarn around, and you'll have to let go of it to toss those tails on top of it. Knit 1. That was a brioche knit 1. Cross the tails on top of your working yarn. Knit 1. So it's a regular knit stitch into that purl column. Cross the tails of yarn on top, and a brioche knit 1 into the knit column. Cross the tails on top. That's enough. And then after 12 stitches or so of that weave in Steven cross technique, knit 1, brioche knit 1, knit one all the way to the last 3 stitches. So you can just let those hang out after, about that much or so. That's plenty. And then you can snip those yarns later. And when you snip the yarn, don't cut it too close to the fabric. Give it a little distance so that there's some wiggle room when you wash and block your shawl, that the tail still stays on the wrong side. So you can snip those ends later.